The difference was not intelligence. The difference was not luck. The difference was attitude. This example shows a very important connection. Attitude shapes thoughts. Thoughts shape actions. Actions shape results. If you change your attitude, you change the first step in this chain. And when you change the first step, the final result can also change. Sometimes we think attitude is something small. But in reality, it is like the steering wheel of a car. A small movement of the steering wheel can change the direction of the whole car. In the same way, a small change in attitude can slowly change the direction of your life. This is especially true in learning English. Many learners say, "English is too difficult. I will never speak fluently." When they repeat this idea again and again, their brain believes it. Then they practice less. They avoid conversations. Their progress becomes slow. But learners who say, "English is challenging, but I will improve step by step," continue practicing. They make mistakes, but they keep going. After months or years, the results become very different. So attitude is powerful because it controls the beginning of every action. It influences how long we try. It influences how we react to failure. It influences whether we see problems as walls or as lessons. And in the end, these small daily reactions build our future. When you understand this deeply, you realize something important. You may not control every situation in your life. You may not control the weather, other people, or unexpected problems, but you can control your attitude. And when you control your attitude, you control your direction. That is why attitude is not just a word. It is not just motivation. It is a force that shapes behavior, decisions, relationships, and success. Same situation, different attitude, different result. And that is the real power of attitude. Real-life example story. Now I want to tell you a simple real-life style story. Stories help us understand ideas better. They help us feel the message, not only hear it. So listen carefully and imagine the scenes in your mind. This is a story about a student named Adam. Adam was an average student in school. He was not the best, and he was not the worst. He especially struggled with English. When the teacher asked him to speak in class, his heart started beating fast. His hands felt cold. He was afraid of making mistakes. One day, Adam had to give a short presentation in English. He practiced at home, but when he stood in front of the class, he forgot some words. He stopped in the middle of his speech. Some students laughed quietly. Adam felt embarrassed. His face became red. After that day, he felt very disappointed. That evening, Adam went home feeling heavy and sad. In his mind, he kept thinking, "I am bad at English. I cannot speak well. Everyone is better than me." For a few days, he avoided speaking in class. When the teacher asked questions, He looked down at his desk. His attitude became negative, and because of that attitude, his confidence became weaker. But something changed 1 week later. The teacher spoke to Adam after class. The teacher said, "Adam, I saw that you were nervous, but I also saw that you tried. That is important. Mistakes are part of learning. If you continue practicing, you will improve." These simple words made Adam think differently. That night, Adam asked himself a new question. Instead of asking, "Why am I so bad?" he asked, "What can I do to improve?" This small change in attitude became the turning point. He decided to practice speaking for 10 minutes every day. He watched simple English videos. He recorded his voice on his phone and listened to it. At first, it was uncomfortable, but he continued. After 1 month, he noticed small progress. He still made mistakes, but he did not stop. After 3 months, he felt more confident. When he gave another presentation, he was still a little nervous, but he did not give up. This time, he finished his speech. The class listened. Some students even clapped. Adam did not become perfect. He did not suddenly become the best speaker in the school. But his future changed because his attitude changed. Before, he believed he could not improve. Later, he believed he could grow step by step. The situation was difficult in both cases. But his reaction was different. And that reaction changed his direction. Now let me tell you a shorter example about a worker. Sarah worked in a small company. One day, her manager told her that her project was not good enough. She had 2 choices. She could say, "My manager does not like me. I will only do the minimum work." Or she could say, "This feedback hurts, but maybe I can learn something." Sarah chose the second attitude. She asked questions. She improved her skills. 1 year later, she received a promotion. The criticism did not destroy her. It helped her grow because she chose a strong attitude. We can also think about an athlete. Imagine a runner who trains for a competition but loses the race. One runner says, "I am not talented. I quit." Another runner says, "I lost today, but I will train harder." After 1 year, the second runner becomes stronger and faster. The difference again is attitude. These stories show something very clear. Difficulty is normal. Failure is normal. Criticism is normal. What is not fixed is our attitude. When we choose a negative attitude, we close the door to growth. When we choose a positive attitude, we open a new door. So remember Adam. Remember Sarah. Remember the runner. They all faced problems. They all felt disappointed. But their attitude decided their future. And the same is true for you. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Very simple version. Now, let us talk about another very important idea that is connected to attitude. It is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Do not worry about the word mindset. It simply means the way we think about our abilities and our potential. It is the belief we have about ourselves. A fixed mindset is when a person believes that their abilities cannot change. They think intelligence, talent, and skills are fixed. In other words, they believe, "This is how I am. I cannot improve." When someone with a fixed attitude faces a challenge, they often say, "I can't do this." If they fail, they think, "This proves I am not good enough." They see mistakes as proof of weakness. For example, imagine someone learning English. If they have a fixed mindset, they might say, "My pronunciation is bad. I will never sound good." Because they believe this, they stop practicing. They avoid speaking. They feel embarrassed easily. Their belief becomes their reality. Since they do not practice, they do not improve. And then they say, "See, I was right." But in truth, it was not their ability that stopped them. It was their attitude. Now, let us look at a growth mindset. A growth mindset is when a person believes that abilities can develop with effort and practice. They believe the brain can grow stronger, just like a muscle. When someone with a growth attitude faces a challenge, they say, "This is difficult, but I can learn this." If they fail, they think, "I did not succeed yet, but I can try again." They see mistakes as part of the learning process. Let us take the same example of learning English. A learner with a growth mindset might say, "My pronunciation is not clear right now, but if I practice every day, I will improve." This small word, "yet," is very powerful. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," they say, "I can't do this yet." That one word changes everything. It keeps hope alive. It keeps action moving. The most important thing to understand is that ability can grow. Science shows us that when we practice something again and again, our brain creates stronger connections. That means your English skills are not fixed. Your confidence is not fixed. Your speaking ability is not fixed. They can all improve with time and effort. But this improvement only happens if you believe it is possible. Many people are afraid of mistakes. They think mistakes mean failure. But mistakes are not failure. Mistakes are lessons. When a child learns to walk, they fall many times. But no one says, "This child is a failure." Falling is part of learning. In the same way, making grammar mistakes or pronunciation mistakes is part of learning English. Each mistake shows you what to improve. It gives you direction. A fixed mindset avoids challenges because it wants to look smart all the time. A growth mindset accepts challenges because it wants to become smarter over time. A fixed mindset says, "If I fail, people will judge me." A growth mindset says, "If I fail, I will learn something valuable." Think about your own life for a moment. When you face something difficult, what do you usually say to yourself? Do you say, "I am not good at this"? Or do you say, "I need more practice"? The first sentence closes the door. The second sentence opens it. Changing from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset does not happen in one day. It takes awareness and practice. But it starts with simple language. Instead of saying, "I can't," try saying, "I can't yet." Instead of saying, "I failed," try saying, "I am still learning." These small changes in words create big changes in attitude. So remember this: your ability is not a fixed number. It is not something written in stone. It is something that can grow. When you believe you can learn, you give yourself permission to improve. And when you see mistakes as lessons, you stop being afraid of them. This is the power of a growth attitude. It gives you courage to continue. It gives you patience to practice. And it gives you hope that tomorrow can be better than today. How attitude affects English learning. Now let us connect everything directly to you and your English learning journey. This part is very important because many of you are listening to this podcast to improve your English. You practice listening. You practice speaking. But sometimes the biggest problem is not grammar or vocabulary. The biggest problem is attitude. Many English learners are afraid of speaking. Maybe you understand a lot when you listen. Maybe you can read well. But when it is time to speak, you feel nervous. Your heart beats fast. You worry that people will laugh. You worry that your sentence is not correct. This fear is very common. Almost every learner feels it at some point. But here is the important question. What is your attitude toward this fear? If your attitude is negative, you might say, "I am too shy. I cannot speak. My English is bad." Because you think like this, you speak less. When you speak less, you get less practice. When you get less practice, you improve slowly. Then you feel even more nervous. It becomes a circle. The fear creates silence, and the silence keeps the fear alive. But if your attitude is positive, you might say, "Yes, I am nervous, but that is normal. I am learning. I will speak anyway." This attitude changes your action. You speak even if your voice shakes a little. You accept that your sentences may not be perfect. Slowly, your confidence grows. The fear becomes smaller because you face it. Another common problem is the fear of mistakes. Many learners think mistakes are something terrible. They want to speak perfectly. They want perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, perfect vocabulary. But perfection is not the goal of learning. Progress is the goal. If your attitude says, "I must be perfect," you will feel stressed. You may stop speaking because you are waiting to become perfect first. But perfection never comes before practice. A healthy attitude says, mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake shows you something new. If you say a wrong word and someone corrects you, now you know the right word. That is progress. If you pronounce something incorrectly and you learn the correct sound, that is improvement. Mistakes are not enemies.